What I'd like to talk about today is something called World Day for Social Justice. And social justice is basically justice in the world so that the poor are looked after. And this has a very specific subject in the Catholic Church. It's called Catholic social teaching, and it's called the best kept secret in the Catholic Church, because when we think about our obligations to the poor, it's very challenging, it's very demanding, and it's very radical. And when something challenging comes in our direction, the most natural thing we can do is to pretend that it doesn't exist and kind of look the other way. The only problem with us not thinking about and being responsive to our obligation to the poor is that Jesus will want to talk to us about that when we see him at the final judgment. Catholic social teaching is very simple, it's very straightforward. It comes from the second great commandment, that we are to love our neighbour as ourselves. If we can think about us being a poor person and looking at rich people, we would want the rich people to share out of their abundance with us so that we would have the essentials of life. And that's basically all we are talking about. Now, back in the 1960s, there was a famous letter that was written by Pope Paul VI. He was the Pope before John Paul II, and it's called Populorum Progressio. And I just want to give you a sense of what the Bible says is our obligation to the poor. This is paragraph 23 of Populorum Progressio. He who has the goods of this world and sees his brother in need and closes his heart to him, how does the love of God abide in him? And that is straight out of 1 John chapter 3, verse 17. Everybody knows that the fathers of the church, these were the big minds back in the early centuries, how they laid down the duty of the rich, and we're all here relatively rich, towards the poor in no uncertain terms. As St. Ambrose put it, you are not making a gift of what is yours to the poor man, you are giving him back what is his anyway. That's radical. You have been taking things that are meant to be for the common good of everyone. The earth belongs to everyone, not just to the rich. These words indicate that the right to private property is not absolute and unconditional. No one may take surplus goods for his own private use when others lack the bare necessities of life. Mother Teresa had a very simple way of living, and it's really something that all Christians should take stock of. She said we should live simply so others may simply live. And if we just kind of break that out a little bit, if we lived simply, just took the necessities of life and shared generously with what is left over, then everybody would have enough in the world. As my grandfather used to say, he was very much attuned to this as well. He said, the world has enough for everybody's need, but the world doesn't have enough for everybody's greed. So we need to think very seriously about how we can live simply so others can simply live.